Hi boys and girls, it's me Butch. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia. I'm 68 years old. I'm an old fart and I paint. Today I'm going to show you briefly what I'm working on lately, which is a Jean Paul Riopelle inspired style of painting, which is palette knife painting. And I'm going to be painting with acrylic, which is quite fast drying, as you know. So these kind of things can be quite expensive. A canvas this big can cost you anywhere from about $40 to $50 to buy. I primed it last night with some black gesso, so it's pretty dry and ready to go. This is 36 inches by 48 inches, and the medium we're going to be using is modeling paste and just a couple of colors, modeling paste, and for blacks I may use black gesso. The reason for using the modeling paste and the gesso is to reduce the cost of the paint, because it's very easy, because I've done it, to spend $200, $300 or $400 worth of paint on something this big. And you only have a few hours of working time initially. You can go back into it afterwards and do some touch-ups. Here is, this is still a bit wet because I was just doing some touch-ups. Oops, we'll get it out here somehow. Here is the one that I was working on yesterday. This one is done with Payne's Gray for the black, modeling paste and titanium white for the white, and cadmium red deep mostly. Might be a bit of cadmium red medium in there. I'm just using little bits of red that I had left over, and you'll see how I deal with bits of color as I go along. You have to be careful when mixing yellows with blacks, because you'll end up making greens, or blues with Payne's Gray, because you'll also end up making greens. This Payne's Gray has a very bluish kind of a color, but I love Payne's Gray. So without further ado, I'm going to get started here. Now I'm going to be editing this video really heavily, because it's going to take several hours to do this, and I'll be speeding it up in the editor into a time lapse. So I like having a plate for my palette, and here is my bucket of modeling paste. And what I'm going to do initially, because I'm experimenting all the time, is I'm going to put a whole lot of modeling paste over pretty much the whole surface of the painting, and then I'm going to work into that. So here we have a whole lot of modeling paste, and we're just going to start putting it on. This is a slightly different technique than I used from the last couple, so it'll be as much of a surprise to you as it is to me. But you'll get to see how I do this. So this is called abstract expressionism, what we're going to be doing. And I'm going to be, like I say, editing the video, speed things up, so there's going to be times where you're just going to see me working very fast. I'm using a drywall knife. I like those for doing this kind of work. And the first couple times I did this, I was trying to do the ones I did. I didn't go back and touch them up afterwards, because I was afraid that I would have too much trouble trying to do texture over texture, because you get all kinds of bumps, of course, from the paint. But I've discovered that's not that big a problem, really. And something else I started doing is using black gesso for black as well. So if I'm retouching I might use black gesso to touch up different areas where I want to try and balance the stuff out a bit. You can see I had some black gesso left on here from touch-ups I was doing a while ago. So you don't want to use too many colors when you're going to do one of these things. I would say stick to, oops, I just dropped some modeling paste there. Stick to just a couple of basic colors. Pick your colors. I love Payne's Gray as my dark color. It makes really nice blackish kind of colors. And I used to start by thinking I'll make one end dark and I'll graduate to light, but it's very hard, I find, to plan what exactly is going to end up happening. And you want to try and have some sort of balance across the surface of the painting. I paint around the edges of my paintings, so it's important to remember to put some paint on the sides as well as you're going along. Remember, we're only going to have, in the initial stage of this, a couple of hours of working time. You can extend that time by using gels. So some of the work I've done, I'm not going to use it in this one because I ran out of money. I don't have enough gel right now to even do it, so I won't be using gels. But in this particular experiment, I want to have sort of a whitish sort of a background going here. Oops. Didn't plan on that. Oh well. That's why I have carpet on my floors to soak up the paint that I screw up with. This is the modeling paste I accidentally dropped there. I'm too cheap to waste anything. It costs a lot of money, all these materials. I'm not rich. If you're a young painter just getting started, this is a really good size canvas to use, 3 feet by 4 feet. Galleries don't like small paintings. It takes up wall space and they don't make enough money off you, so galleries don't much like small paintings. So if you're in any kind of large city, I highly recommend you paint something around this size. It's big enough to be big enough and small enough to be small enough. And from a gallery's point of view, they can, you know, that's where the piece of wood is behind here at the back. We'll fix its wagon. And I'm pressing on the canvas, it's causing that bit of a line where the support structure is on the back of the canvas. You don't want that to be showing up. So I decided in advance there's going to be lots of yellow in this painting, because that's just what the big experiment is today. So need to load up on some more gel here. Not gel, modeling paste, I mean. See how much modeling paste I went through? I just went through what would be a small jar of modeling paste. So I'm buying the modeling paste by the bucket now. And there's a whole jar of modeling paste right there. So to save money, I would recommend that you get your modeling paste by the bucket. Just going to seal it up here so it doesn't start drying on me. Let's get that away for a minute. And my color I want to deal with today is yellow, so yellows, those are kind of expensive paints, but that's the way she goes. But you don't need to if you use gels or modeling paste. You won't need nearly as much color as you might think you need. So just put a little blob of yellow on there. And here we go. I'll probably speed the film up from here on in, so you get an idea what I'm doing. So you should look up Jean Paul Riopelle, find out what he did, and you'll begin to understand why I say this style, which he became famous for. He was the very first person to do this kind of painting with palette knives. So anytime you see palette knife paintings done in this style was invented by Jean Paul Riopelle, who's a Canadian. He's dead now, of course. And you want to work all over the canvas because it'll be easier to sort of sort out our balances as we go along. And I'm laying it on fairly heavy because I want lots of texture. The modeling paste is going to, as it dries, it's going to settle down quite a bit. And you can see here, I don't have that much pigment, but I want this painting to be basically black, yellow, and white. That's what this is going to be, this painting. So that was my decision in advance, was that that's what it was going to be. And I'm putting bits of color all over so I can sort of work out a tone and color balance as I go along. I used to try thinking, oh, I'll make it go from dark to light, light to dark, or something like that. But that doesn't always work out the way I think it will. So my new methodology, and I've done now about 20 of these. 10 anyway, I can't remember. I paint a lot of different styles, but I'm going to be painting a lot more of these. I'll probably in the next couple of years paint a couple hundred of these. Oh, I started telling you about being a young artist, I think. I wonder. If you're a young artist, you got to find something that's your style. It's all been done, everything's been done. So you've got to look at what everybody else has done and try and find a way to put your little edge on it. What you can do to make it different. And that'll take time. You can't just paint one or two paintings and think, oh, now I'm going to be famous. You know, Picasso painted 7,000 or 8,000 paintings and probably did 10 or 12,000 different artworks. Van Gogh did over 700 paintings. You know, so Monet painted thousands of paintings. When he discovered that the water lilies sold, he just started cranking those suckers out like crazy. So the thing you got to do is learn that you've got to paint lots. You should, if you want to be a professional artist, you should be prepared to paint 10 to 20 paintings a year, at least. So if you can't paint at least 10 paintings a year, you're in the wrong business. Go do something else. You're not an artist. You're just a wannabe. Most of the artists who ever lived are alive at this very moment. So you got lots of competition out there. Nobody needs you. The galleries don't need you. They don't want you. It's like trying to be an author. Book companies don't want you. They don't need you. They got more than they can even look at. So you got to be good, be persistent, show anywhere you can possibly show, be a publicity hog, try and do anything you can to get attention. Make sure you get a website going of some sort. Promote yourself ruthlessly all the time. Never stop promoting yourself. Most people are famous because they're famous, not because they were particularly good at anything. You know, Picasso, he was a pretty good artist, but he wasn't the world's best painter, that's for sure. He could paint. You know, when he was younger, he did some not bad stuff. But he determined at a very early age that he was going to be different somehow, and he happened to live at a happy time with a lot of contemporaries. You know, he lived at a fairly decent time of history in terms of, you know, change and stuff like that. It's just another little small drywall knife. Not so much it's just a little scraper, that's what it is. So I'm just using a little scraper here. My object right now is just to get the whole surface of this thing covered, because I know I've only got a couple hours of working time. There's a little bit of black gesso still on my plate, so some of that's mixing in it. It makes some nice streaks there in the colors. So the object is to get lots of little streaks.